are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 643. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing okay. How you doing, Jay? Do you want to make your big announcement?
I'm a little tired because after last night's game, I was too angry to fall asleep for like 3 hours.
You're not going to announce good news, or no?
No, I don't think we talked about it, so...
Did we not talk about it?
No, we talked about it on Brink. Wrong podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, this is, you want to start the show again, then?
We have a comedy podcast called The Brink of Sanity. You can check that out. I got a new job, so...
Okay. It was that hard to just say I got a new job. Congratulations to Jay, who made it really painful to me to get that good news out. I wanted to congratulate him. He was kind of a dick like the NBA refs were last night.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you know, you had a lane violation.
Yeah.
Wrong
So
lane.
Today's show, we got a lot to talk about. We will talk about whether the NBA refs can make Wemby a star. We'll talk about Jalen Brunson, who if you're only going to score 61 points, you can't expect to win games. We're going to talk about can the Knicks be beaten if they make 43s in a game. We're going to talk about which Knick is the hardest to stop driving when he drives to the basket. Hint, he's gigantic and the best offensive rebounder in the NBA. We're going to talk about will the Hewing theory be replaced by the OG Randall theory? And we're going to talk about did Alex Burks have his best week as a Knick?
Sounds good. That is a stacked show.
So since the last show, the Knicks they won a bunch of games and they lost a heartbreaking game. They beat the crap out of the Pistons. They beat the crap out of the Raptors. Dante DiVincenzo set the Knicks record for most threes in a game. Against Detroit. He set the Knicks record for most threes in a season against the Spurs. Had a hell of a week. Deuce McBride apparently is unconscious from three as well. Was amazing from three. Great week. Tough game against the Spurs last night. But
we had Dante hit 11 in a game, and then a couple days later we had McBride hit 9 in a game.
Crazy.
So, yeah, we were talking. Was it just 2 years ago that the Knicks, or maybe in last season, that the Knicks needed 3-point shooting, and we got it now.
Oh yeah, one more topic I forgot to mention. Did Toronto screw up and trade for the wrong Knicks point guard? Deuce has been awesome. Had an awesome week. Wasn't quite as good against San Antonio. Let's start with the Spurs game because I think that's the game people want to talk about. The Knicks. The Knicks started out terrible against the Spurs.
Yeah.
And made it a roaring comeback. What the hell happened?
I will say that was the most exciting game of the season. I mean, that was like a nail biter. Once the Knicks went on that run from down 21 to tie it, it was just back and forth for the next quarter and a half. And
the only other game that rivaled it, remember the Heat game around Thanksgiving when the Knicks were down by about 20 points also?
Yeah.
That was also a similarly really exciting game, but that one had a better result, obviously.
Yeah, super exciting game. Unfortunately, Brunson scored the second highest point total as a Knick in team history. 1 point away
61
from,
points.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
61. Melo has the record with 62. Unfortunately, the rest of the team didn't really show up. Like Dante and Mitch kind of showed up, and nobody else was really like.
So the Knicks have been playing awesome basketball as of late, and they've got Mitch back this week as well, which is great. And I also mentioned that he had some couple times he was driving to the basket, which was kind of awesome. But I think part of it is we forget that this team really is shorthanded without two of their three best players aren't on the court. it's hard to keep this effort up every night.
I love when the Knicks play a team with a couple guys out and they're like, the Knicks are playing like the shorthanded whatever. And I'm like, how are they shorthanded? The Knicks aren't. Like the Knicks this season should just be called the shorthanded Knicks.
Yeah. Everyone's just like the Knicks, okay, whatever, this is your roster. This is what you won into the season. Like, this is not the roster. The roster includes OG. The roster includes Julius Randle. Without those, we are shorthanded. We are very shorthanded. Most teams cannot win or play very well without two of their three best players. You take Donovan Mitchell off Cleveland, and they suck without him.
Yeah.
And they're great with him, but they're not very good without him, as the record has indicated recently when he's been out.
Yeah.
Most teams don't. They're missing, and like, it's hard to play well and be this intense and this good every night. The Knicks had two really easy games against Detroit and Toronto, Detroit and Toronto. And to a certain extent, maybe they didn't take the Spurs as seriously because the Spurs had 17 wins going into the season. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Well, they had 17 wins going into the season, but over the last 20 games, they've been almost 500. Like,
yeah,
they've been a lot better lately. They're 7-9 out of the last 16 or something. Like, it's not bad.
No, they're actually, and they had won the last two games they played. Wembanyama is the best rookie in the NBA since, I don't know who's comparable. Maybe best since Zion, best since LeBron. I don't know where you rank him.
Yeah, I would say somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between. He's
best since Luka.
That's another one. He looks really good. The last time the Knicks played San Antonio, he looked much worse, much easier to stop. The refs did help him a lot, but the guy is going to get more and more awesome. He's playing well lately, and like he's a big force. Vassell is a hell of a shooter. He's a good player. They're not as bad as their record. Like you watch like Wemby alone play, and you're like, this team should not be this bad. And next year they probably go to Vegas or bet online, whatever. They will be the most improved team in the NBA next year.
Yeah, I would take the over on their win total. They'll probably have a win total of around 28, 29. I'd take the over.
Yeah, they're probably going to be a much better team. Second year of Wemby, as long as he stays healthy, like they're going to be a pretty good team. Add another like rookie, like a top pick to their team.
Speaking
also,
of
the team, like I was going to say, the team also they're not a good 3-point shooting team, but like, hey, like they were hitting a lot of shots, and sometimes teams just hit their shots. These are all NBA players.
Yeah. Speaking of betting, the jump ball lane violation seemed like a clear. Somebody had a bet on that. Because
how often do you see a jump ball lane outside of like a guy jumping too early?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen one where like you're like no one saw it besides this one ref.
I rewound it, and I was like, I still don't see anything. It looked like a normal jump. If one guy jumps too early, they just redo it. So I don't even know what the call was. It was just kind of like, oh, Wemby lost the jump ball. Let's just give the ball to Wemby.
The guy was adamant. The ref immediately was like, lane violation. Like it was like a blatant lane violation. I watched the replay 10 times. I'm like, waiter, I've yet to see what the hell he's talking about.
I have no idea.
Mitch actually, did you see Mitch posted about this?
Yeah.
On Instagram, and he was just what would we find his quote? He said, he said, I'll accept not playing to my full ability and won't make no excuses. We shall meet again, but my God, this is crazy. That was his comment about the jump ball. On someone posting the video, Knicks Beast, who posted the video of the lane violation.
I do like how the
no
Knicks
sense.
Don't blame, like, we're blaming the refs right now. The Knicks actually don't. Like, Hartenstein was like, they were calling very light fouls for Wemby, and that's my fault because I didn't adjust. And that's a cool attitude. I mean, I don't agree. I think it was ridiculous that Brunson got hacked constantly and didn't get the calls, and Wemby got some very light calls, but I think it's cool that the Knicks players have a good attitude about that.
I mean, at some point, then, like, the Spurs had shot 20 free throws, and the Knicks had shot 3. It was just like, it seemed...
Yeah. Yeah, Wemby
completely
shot as many
ridiculous.
as the entire Knicks team for the entire overtime game.
I mean, really, also, the NBA has made an effort to call less fouls, which is fine. So if you want to, if you don't want to call the fouls on Brunson, fine. But then don't turn around and give Wemby all these like small, like touchy fouls. Like just to call it evenly. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah, and you. I know some people are like, well, one team was more aggressive. The Knicks took about 20 more shots in the paint.
Yeah,
So,
it doesn't make any sense. You're right. Like if you're going to the paint more, you're more like that's the team that should get more fouls.
yeah.
So that's the Knicks beyond the refs. The Knicks just like came out. They allowed the Spurs to score 74 points in the first half. That is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Forgetting the free throws, that was just absurd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. They just got blitzed. They went down huge, and I mean, there's two ways to look at it. One way is like the Knicks put themselves in that situation by going down so big, and it was too close at the end because of that. On the other hand, you shouldn't be like, well, you have to be up by 10 because you never know if the refs are going to start doing this. So, like,
It's really just if you're down by a lot, it's really hard. I mean, Clyde always talks about the fact that like if you're down, it takes so much to come back when you're down by a lot that once you get there, you're almost expended all your energy. And the Knicks, by the time they tied it up, they kind of like looked like they went all the way to tie it up, and then they kind of like fell behind by 10 again, and then they had to tie it up again, and like it's really hard. It's really hard to climb the mountain and then go above the mountain.
It is.
And the Knicks also, there were so many shots they just missed, where the ball just kept coming out of the rim. Where if you just made one or two of those, the Knicks just win the game.
yeah, I mean, Mitch had a point blank layup that just somehow rimmed out. Like,
Yeah,
there was
it's also. I know the Knicks were shorthanded. The Knicks, their bench, looks terrible right now.
They do.
I mean, they played. I mean, they didn't have Burks, and I alluded to Burks having his best week as a Knick because he just didn't play this week. Maybe Burks should play next week, and Bogdanovich should not play next week. Bogdanovich is terrible. I don't understand how he looked good in Detroit, and I know he's a better
It's
player.
not just Detroit. He's looked good for like a decade.
Yeah, he's just whatever reason it's not working for him. He's looked terrible. Tibbs tried to shake Milton out didn't do much. But like
Precious had a bad game.
Precious had a bad game. I don't know. Somehow Precious ended up being, and I like Precious. He somehow ended up being a negative 30 last night. It's crazy also. He played 16 minutes. He was a negative 30. Brunson, who played 43 of a possible 53 minutes, was a plus 20. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how the Knicks were a negative 24 in the 10 minutes he didn't play.
Yeah. The Knicks went on a huge run, came from 21 down to tie it. Brunson sat, and they were down by 12 in like 2 minutes with him sitting.
I mean, it's Brunson should stop sitting. Just play every minute, every game going forward, and we're good.
I
think Tibbs might try that.
they just need to get healthy. I don't. Do you think the Knicks are going to get healthy? Do you think we're going to see OG and Randall? I mean, there's 10 games left. Time's running out.
Yeah, I've never been more confident in the fact that they're not coming back.
Really?
We still Randall still is not taking contact. OG, it's still, and to a certain extent, I get them being a little bit cryptic about this. Like they were cryptic about Mitch, and then Mitch suddenly was practicing and he's back. You don't want to say, hey, Randall will be back next Tuesday, and then put an unfair timeline on Randall or OG. You have to wait till they're ready. You don't want to announce anything publicly. Let them be ready when they're ready. But I'm starting to think Randall needs surgery. It's just a matter of getting the surgery now or getting the surgery when the season ends.
So,
I think he's in so much pain when he's practicing without contact that they're like, let's just see if he can get better. But like, I bet when the first round series starts, we'll hear that Randall's just out and he's going to have surgery at that point.
So if you look at the box scores on ESPN, at the bottom they show who's out and their estimated return timetable. And for Randall, it said estimated return April 5th.
Maybe they know more. I mean, obviously, I don't know anything. I'm guessing here. Maybe he'll be back April 5th. I mean, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Maybe they just put a placeholder for. I mean, that's 1 week. Maybe if they don't know the timetable, they just put a week.
What do they say for OG?
He wasn't even on there.
Oh, okay. They're like, he's never coming back.
Yeah.
In theory, you'd think OG would be back sooner, because he had surgery already and like is like they're just giving him more rest.
And he was back.
He was back, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the thought process with OG is, hey, he doesn't need ramp up time. We need to hold him out as long as we can, let him play the last game of the season, and then he'll be for the playoffs and we can just adjust. He's that good. Randall, as we saw at the beginning of the season, like he needs ramp up time. You can't have his first game back basically be the playoffs.
Yeah.
So here's a question to you. So right now the Knicks are the 4 seed. What do you think it looks like if these guys aren't back? Mitch stays healthy, but these guys right now, also the Knicks are facing Orlando. The season ended. So how do you think this team does if Randall and OG comes back? Can we beat Orlando? What do you think it looks like for us?
You're talking about in the playoffs?
Yeah, like what happens in the playoffs? These guys don't come back.
I think they can win that first round, but I think they get bumped in the second round again.
Okay. What if OG comes back and Randall does not come back?
I think it'll be.
We get to the conference finals?
I think they can make the conference finals depending on the matchup, yes.
Okay. And if both come back?
Both come back, I think they have a potential to go all the way.
I mean, it's going to be tough with either way. They're not going to be fully healthy. Either one of them probably.
Right, but if they made the conference finals, I also don't.
Anything could happen.
I have no faith that Porzingis and Horford are going to be fully healthy either. So, a toss-up.
How important? So right now the Knicks are, and I was worried previously that the Knicks would fall into the play-in.
Yeah,
they're up 4 on the Heat right now. I feel confident the Knicks were going to avoid the play-in with 9 games to go.
Yeah.
But how important is, like, right now the Knicks, the 1 seed out of the question already. Celtics are up by so much, and the Celtics look really unstoppable. But 2 through 6,
they literally couldn't. Even if they won the last 11 games and Celtics lost the last 11, they would still be 2 out.
Last 9.
Oh, 9, yeah. So they'd be 4 out.
Yeah. What do you? The Celtics have already clinched it. How important is 2 through 6? Like, how big of a deal is to get home, and how important is it?
I don't think home is that big. I think it's more matchup. I would rather them get 2, 3, or 6. I wouldn't want the 4, 5 just because they're in the Celtics bracket.
I think it's, you know what? I think you have to go through the Celtics at some point. As long as you're not going through the Celtics in the first round, I think it is what it is. I like right now the way things fall. I wouldn't mind, like, of the teams you're going to face first round. Like, yes, I like Cleveland obviously in the first round. I like Orlando. Maybe I like the Pacers third. I don't know. I guess they all seem like reasonable first round matchups.
Yeah, I mean 4 or 5 wouldn't be bad because that's the Magic. I think that's winnable. The 3, I would say, I would love to play the Pacers, but the Heat might jump into that spot. And
the Heat are not going to jump in that spot. Heat are 7th.
Yeah, they're 1 game away from 6th. I'm saying if the Knicks got 3rd.
Yeah. Sorry, you're right. Sorry. I thought you meant the Heat would jump into 3rd. Sorry.
No. So I'd be wary about the 3 seed just for that. Same with 2. It's like you might just end up with Miami, and the Knicks just don't match up well against Miami, probably because they injure everybody when they play. But
right, I don't want to play the Heat first round. I don't want to play the Celtics first round. Those are the 2 I want to avoid the most. And the Bucks, I guess. I don't want to play the Bucks first round either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a worry. The Bucks are going to finish 2nd, and the Knicks would have to fall to 7th for that to happen. I don't think that's going to.
Did you see the thing that so when they fired Adrian Griffin, the Bucks were like 33 and 14, or 32 and 14, and since they got Doc Rivers, they're 4 and 13.
4 and 13 or 14 and 13?
14 and 13. 14 and 13. Yeah. They're barely above 500 in 27 games with Doc.
Yeah, and they've been pretty healthy too.
Yeah. What a dumb decision that I mean, obviously I don't think they should have fired the guy that won the title for them. But like this move for Doc didn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, no, it didn't. But karma, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but if the Knicks don't get those two guys back, I feel like it also changes the calculus of who you want to play. I guess as long as the Knicks are in a top 6 seed, I guess it doesn't matter that much. I'd like home court, but I don't think it's the biggest of deals to get if you don't get home court. I'd like not to play the Celtics second round, but at some point you have to beat the Celtics. It'd be better if they're battered more in the third round. But
I also don't think it matters as much depending on the matchup because like there's a lot of Knicks fans in Orlando, so they're going to be hearing cheering anyway. It's not like
yeah,
the Knicks have a lot of fans in a lot of different cities, so it's not like it's a huge disadvantage in some places. Like Milwaukee, they don't have a big fan base. They'll probably, that would be a disadvantage. But like Orlando, you're going to hear MVP chants for Brunson in Orlando.
yeah. It's gonna be a difficult. I wish everyone's gonna be healthy, and I hope to keep this team together next year. But
Well, I've been saying all along they just need the last 10 games, and there's only 9 left. So now I'm officially worried.
yeah. So I guess how I said I am very pessimistic about these guys coming back. How are you feeling?
Pretty bad. It's so frustrating that I haven't felt this way about a Knicks team since 2000. Like even
Like
that
you're so hopeful about the team.
yeah, even that 54 win season, I was like, this is great, but I don't feel like they're going very far. I was surprised they got like as far as they did. This team, I have legit expectations, and now it's just like we're going to be playing probably down 2 starters, and they're going to overachieve. They'll probably get to the second round, but like it's frustrating.
I mean, last time we were missing Patrick Ewing, and we made last time we made the finals, we were missing Patrick Ewing in the 8th seed, and made an unbelievable run.
Yeah, yeah. But
Jay, how do you feel about the Chicago Bulls?
as far as what?
As far as the Knicks are playing them 3 of the next 9 games,
Yeah.
how does that happen?
The schedule has been weird all season. I mean, fine. Like,
I'm happy to play the Bulls.
yeah,
It's
if you're
just
going to
weird.
play a team 3 times near the end of the season when you are banged up, a below 500 team is a good team to do that.
So here's the schedule going forward. We got OKC tomorrow, Miami, Sacramento, Chicago, Milwaukee, Chicago, Boston, Brooklyn, Chicago. So like looking at that schedule, OKC, tough game, right?
Very, very.
Hard, tough game. OKC, one of the best teams. Their coach probably is going to get coach of the year. They've been great.
Yeah.
I think they have a very strong chance of going to the finals, them or Denver. Miami is going to be playing really hard. Tough game also. Sacramento, Knicks should be able to beat Sacramento, but Sacramento's a really tough team also.
Yeah.
You're going to play Chicago 3 times. You're not going to beat them 3 times. You'll beat them twice, but not 3 times. Milwaukee, tough game. Chicago again. Boston, in theory, Boston is going to hopefully maybe be resting up at that point and not as serious.
Yeah.
Brooklyn's a joke, and then Chicago again. 6-3.
I think 6-3. I think 5-4. Not because of the strength of the schedule, just because the Knicks have been so banged up, and you have like the fact that the bench players haven't been playing great, other than like McBride. McBride's starting now, so like the bench has just been bad.
Bench is bad. McBride's been great.
Yeah, I think that's going to catch up with them a couple of times.
The bench, the one
unless
thing
like
that
Boggs breaks out, or Boggs or Precious, like Precious goes back to the way he was like a couple of weeks ago. Like, if not, it's going to be tough to win games with just the starters playing well.
it's going to be really tough to win. You need more from your bench, and they're not getting it. I mean, you'll have Mitchell Robinson as your center off the bench, and that's great, and that part of it's great.
Yeah.
But just you need more. I mean, really, like this trade, the Grimes trade, which is by the way, Grimes is out for the season. That sucks. but you needed to do better in this trade, and like it really was just a zero for the Knicks basically this trade so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any faith that Burks or Bogdanovich will be positive, have positive contributions going forward?
I have more faith in Bogdanovich than Burks.
I have more faith in OG and Randall coming back to full strength.
Fair. Fair.
Yeah, I just in some ways maybe now that I haven't seen Burks for a week, maybe I have more faith in Burks being better. I don't know. Bogdanovich really looks just slow and ineffective. I know he's had a long career and been very good. How is he this bad?
He's just in a slump. I mean, I don't believe he got washed up over the course of like a weekend.
I think it's probably a defensive and offensive system he's not as used to, hasn't been able to adapt. And like Detroit, there was no push to actually win games, so it didn't really matter as much. Here, he probably like really wants to play well, and it almost has made things worse because he's putting too much pressure on himself.
Right.
Also, he got to play like 25, 30 minutes a game. Here, they're like, go out and play 15 minutes or less because Tibbs really is just upset with you.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a career worst shooting since he got to the Knicks.
Been terrible. He's been really like outside like a moment here, a moment there. And Burks has been really terrible too. Hey, have you been listening to the Roommates podcast?
No.
Why not?
I haven't been listening to much lately.
Okay. It's good. It's good. I think last episode they had Isaiah Hartenstein on Hartenstein. I think it was our best episode. It was the most like I think the best laid out episode in terms of the conversation. It was really interesting. But one thing that they've talked about before, which just surprises me, do you know they keep talking about how Josh Hart doesn't like the practice or just like not into practice? And Hartenstein was talking about how in Europe they're really hardcore about practice. And Josh Hart was like, I would never want to play in Europe basically because of how hard they are with practicing. Does that surprise you? Because Josh Hart seems like in unbelievable shape and has such intensity. I would think he'd be like really intense during practice.
Yeah, I would have thought so too. Interesting.
Yeah, I found that just really interesting. And also, do you know what color iHeart is?
Yes.
What color is he?
He's what is he? Shiny black?
Yeah, I didn't know. One of his parents is black. When they started the show by asking him what color he is. It was funny. But one of his dad was black. I think his mom was white, and so he's like I'm black. But obviously they're not. Obviously, I got more of my genes from my mom.
Yeah.
But he also talked about how I'm not. You can go listen to the show, but his dad was a professional player in Europe. And at one point they actually played together, which was kind of cool. It sounded kind of cool for a short period of time.
Oh, that's cool.
I also wanted to comment on. I am so happy to have Clyde back on the broadcast.
Yes.
Do you like Monica McNutt?
She's okay. I think Alan Hahn might be the best. They've been rotating like 5 or 6 different people out there.
Yeah, I like Hahn. I like Wally. I don't
like
them,
Wally.
I like Hahn's. Clyde's the best, obviously.
Yeah.
But Hahn I like a lot. I don't mind Wally. I thought Monica was like, and I think it's a hard job to jump into.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was doing the games, I was like, holy shit, when is Clyde coming back? I think it's a really not an easy job to do at all.
Yeah. The stuff Clyde sees, he's in his 80s, and like he'll see something like in the corner across the court, and it's like, how are you still that sharp? It's like amazing.
There's something just entertaining about the way he talks about stuff. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, like, and also him being an all-time great Nick is nice also. But
I almost had a meltdown yesterday because I thought iHeart broke his wrist and Randall re-injured his ankle within like a 5-minute span, and I was just like so dejected. It looks like it's a sprained wrist and he'll be okay, and Mitch says he's fine too. So actually Mitch had a quote that said, I'm no bitch. So it seems like they'll both be back. But I thought for one moment that like both big men got injured and that was going to be it for the playoffs.
by the way, just and the roommate show does not need plugging from us, but they had like Randall on. They've had DiVincenzo, they've had Randall, now have iHeart. I feel like they're gonna have the whole roster on. Who would you of the remaining players? Who are you most excited to hear on the show?
Probably Mitch.
feel like Mitch the May, and McBride.
Yeah.
I really want to hear McBride, just the fact that because he's taking like a huge step in his career.
Yeah.
I just want to hear him talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are definitely the two.
So we have some questions. The Barbarino writes, "How can I teach my kid to grow to 7'4" and athletic?"
If only that was a teachable skill.
I wonder how tall Wembyana's parents are. Like, are they giants also? You've no idea, right?
No, but they're definitely like not his height. I mean, it's just random sometimes.
His dad is 6'6", his mom is 6'3", so pretty tall parents.
Yeah.
I was just thinking along the lines of like, how random would it be? Like, and I'm 5'11", my wife's like 5'2", so we're not gonna have a really like super tall kids. But like, what if my son's like 5'4" now? I'm like, what if you just went to 7 foot? Like, what would that be like? Just letting your kid just suddenly just shoots up, like just insane. That would be just,
Yeah.
it'd be like just even shopping for them. You're like, shit. All your clothes is extra expensive because I have them specially made because you're gigantic.
It's also weird when it happens. Like, you think they're done growing, and then there's like a second growth spurt.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that happened to me in college. It was only 2 inches, but like I thought I was done growing, and then like over a 3-month span, I grew 2 more inches like out of nowhere.
Wait till Wembanyama gets his growth spurt.
Yeah.
Teddy B writes, "What happened to hard fouls? We could have used an enforcer last night, i.e. Marcus Morris."
Yeah. I guess. I don't know what it was more like the starters when they went down like 15 right away. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it was the Spurs kept hitting threes, which was really it wasn't the like the shots in the paint, it was them just making all their threes, which made things hard.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept every time the Knicks came back, they would hit a three or they would just do something, or like Wemby would make a tough shot.
Yeah.
Though you feel like if you had like Marcus Morris or Charles Oakley out there to foul the shit out of Wemby, and the NBA would probably murder the Knicks. But I feel like it could be a little more like one hard foul in particular instead of like shitty ones.
Yeah.
And Rob writes, "How good is Wemby?" I had a picture of Wemby and Mitch in this question. How good do you think Wemby is going to be?
He's going to be really, really good, but like, how good is Brunson? Like,
Brunson's
he
awesome.
was driving against Wemby and scored 61. Like, without getting any of those, he took like 7 free throws and he scored 61 points. Like, that's insane.
So last night, no one else. He scored 61 points. The rest of the team could not make a basket. Dante hit a couple threes, but really no one else was contributing. And obviously that's why you want a Randall or OG out there. Do you think, would you accuse of Brunson of a little bit too much hero ball near the end of that game?
No. I mean, he passed the McBride on like the game-winning shot. He was taking shots that he was hitting all game. I don't think he was like doing any. I didn't see any like heat checks where he's like taking one step in from half court and just heaving it. Like he was doing the same thing he did all game. It just they weren't really.
It was
falling.
funny at the end of the game when like the game plan was like everyone in the Knicks stand in the corner as far away as possible and then have Brunson go one-on-one.
Yeah.
I mean, twice in a row you were like, wow, the Spurs are just going to do this? They're going to like stay in the corner with the Knicks and watch?
Yeah. It was it was an incredible game from him.
Yeah, I have to assume also.
We have a Discord group, and some people chat during the game. And when he hit 50, I said he's going to have to get 60 for the Knicks to win this game. And I was wrong. He would have needed 64 to win the game.
I can't believe it's crazy. Also, like, so he got 61, Randall got 57, both in losing efforts.
Yeah. I mean, they were
at least
close.
Melo's 63 was a winning effort, but
I mean, yeah. We can argue how that game was lost, but yeah, it's just you hate to see a performance like that like get soured.
I feel like near the end of the game he was running out of energy, or just not. He was a little bit worn down, and that's why the shots stopped falling. And I kind of feel like he did. If anyone else was doing this, Randall, people would be crushing him. But because it's Brunson, people are like, he's a god. He can do whatever he wants. but there needed to be a little more of, and I know he passed to McBride in that last play, but there was too many plays where it was like, let me just have Brunson do it. Let me just have Brunson do it. I guess sometimes that could have worked out also, but I felt like
I think it would have been different if anybody else was playing well.
Like this, yeah, no one was playing well, but you could have, I don't know, run a play. They could have had like set up a screen and pass to Mitch for a dunk. I don't know. I mean, the Knicks hit so many balls around the basket at the end of the game.
I mean, Ihart was fouled out and Mitch was hopping around on one leg, so I don't think they were going to run a play for Mitch.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point. Or just Dante, or I don't know. It just seemed like it was a little bit too much heavy. And Brunson was amazing last night, but it was a little bit too much heavy ISO Brunson at the end of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, Keith writes, and the last question: when, if Julius comes back, will he leave the ball handling playmaking to Jalen?
I think so. I mean, I think Randall was doing that earlier. It seemed like he was doing less ball handling. He was still doing a lot of passing. I mean, he was basically neck and neck with Brunson for assists, but he wasn't doing most of the dribbling. He was doing more of what Noah was doing in Chicago.
Yeah, I think you also I think we're forgetting how important that was. Like the fact that we have no one else that can draw a double team on this right now. Like Randall, you get the ball, he goes down low, the other team immediately double teams, and then he can kick it out. Mm-hmm. That's really helpful for Brunson, not having to work to get every basket. Like just leave Brunson open for the three. Leave Dante open for the three.
Yeah.
The huge element we're missing, like having a guy that can really go down low and like make the other, having a second player that can draw double teams is huge.
And doubly so with OG because he's really good at the corner threes. You have both of those guys back. Good luck doubling anybody.
Yeah.
You add those two, and then you have like a McBride and Dante out there or something. Like, good luck.
By the way, I was surprised last night when he took McBride off the court for a little while. And the only reason I was surprised because it seemed like Tibbs' new strategy with McBride was to play him all 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess McBride played. So never mind. McBride played 46 to 53 minutes. But the 2 nights before against Toronto, he played 40. Against Detroit, he played, and both blowouts, 43. It seemed like McBride barely comes off the court anymore, which has been kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I guess you don't need a bench if we don't play the bench.
You don't play the bench if the bench is playing like garbage. So.
Right. I feel like all this works itself out really easily if you just get Randall and OG back.
Yeah, Tibbs has a normal rotation with a fully healthy team. He's doing this because they're banged up and the reserves are not performing.
Honestly, if Randall and OG come back, the 8 players that play are the 5 starters. It basically would be Randall, Brunson, Ihart, McBride, Hart, Devo, Mitch, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the 5 stars we have now, plus the 2 guys that come back, plus Mitch. I don't think Achua, Bogdanovich. The
playoff rotation would be McBride, Hart, and Mitch off the bench.
Yeah, I think you're either going 8. I think it's going 8. I don't think it's going to do a 9-man rotation. It's going to be an 8-man rotation in the playoffs.
I mean, if somebody gets in foul trouble, you have Precious or a Bogdanovich. Or I guess if a lot of the guards get in foul trouble, you have Burks. But those are only going to be situational. I think that we just said the 8-man lineup, which is a nasty 8-man lineup.
I think the Knicks are away for the first playoff game. I think it's going to be awkward when the Knicks are like, "Oh, sorry, Burks and Bogdanovich, we didn't tell you what time the flight was. Sorry." Anyway, not that many more weeks left.
Yeah, that's it. 9 games. So, predictions before next game.
By the way, for the playoffs, we're going to do at least one night of, for the first round, go to a bar in the city and watch, and whoever wants to come join us, right?
Yeah. We'll announce that when it gets closer.
Yeah. Next 5 games, what do you think, Jay?
What are they?
Next 5 games, which I had up before, we just talked about. OKC, Miami, Sacramento, Chicago, Milwaukee.
This is a tough stretch.
3-2.
I think 2-3, and then they finish strong.
Okay. I mean, finishing strong would be nice also. OKC's gonna be tough. I think they beat Miami. I think they beat Sacramento. I think they beat Sacramento, beat Chicago, lose to Milwaukee. They lose to Milwaukee and OKC. Those are the my best guess.
All right, we are nyknickspodcast@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. We do have a Discord. You can see the links to our Discord on our other social media. We're at nyknickspodcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and YouTube. So,
Yes.
yeah, and if you like the show, you can subscribe and leave a review on iTunes or Spotify or anything else. So,
Yes. Yeah, you're very like I want you to scream, Jay, at the end of the show.
yeah, like I said, I'm exhausted from just pouting until late night over that game. I really took that one hard. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we will be back next week. Do we know what day yet?
Oh, we do not know what day yet. What day you want? God damn, I gotta bring up the schedule again. We'll probably Wednesday.
Wednesday around 7 p.m. So
Yes.
we're Crumpled Bacon on Twitch too, if you want to watch through Twitch. So
You want to tune in to find out how Crumpled Bacon relates to the Knicks.
all right, thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
So we just got an email that said our affiliation with Ticket Club has ended, and I forgot for the last 3 years that we had one, so I could see why they ended it.
What were we supposed to be? By the way, Wednesday works. No game, but what were we supposed to be doing?
I think we were supposed to be giving our code and say you could buy tickets through Ticket Club. Sorry.
Oh, so if they buy tickets, we get money.
Yeah, but we didn't announce it for about 3 years. So. We're the worst. We're the worst. I can't believe our show's not more successful.
I can't believe we're not making more money off the Ticket Club.
I can't believe we're not making money in general with that kind of
what are you gonna do?
with that kind of stuff going on. All right, that is all.